Eighth round of the FIDE Candidates 2024. We have the 17-year-old Gukesh taking fort. He's going to play Vidit Gujrathi in this round. Gukesh had a pretty unfortunate previous round. He was better against Alireza Firouzja but went on to lose that game, and with it also his lead. Now he's half a point behind the leader Jan Nepomniachtchi. But there was a rest day and you can see that Gukesh has calmed down and has come to the game with renewed vigor. His opponent Vidit Gujrathi is half a point behind him, and I would say that this is a make or break game for both of them. Whoever wins will have excellent chances in this tournament, while the one who loses will kind of not have much chances to fight for the title. You can see Vidit coming in and getting into his meditative pose. In the first game that they played, where Gukesh had the white pieces, the game had ended in a draw. Now Vidit has the white pieces, they shake hands, and it's very interesting to see what will be the first move. And as always, Vidit takes a few seconds of time, calms himself down, and I believe he has chosen e4 in every game that he's played with white, and he's gone e4 here as well. Gukesh responds back with e5, very solid, and with it brings his knight out to f3. It'll be interesting to see what Gukesh's strategy will be, because Vidit will go out for the kill here. And there you can see he plays the Italian game, and Italian is much more aggressive option as compared to the Ruy Lopez, and that is clearly seen by Vidit's choice here. Gukesh plays his knight to f6. Now bishop c5 is played often, but here knight f6 was played, and now d3 played by Vidit, and bishop c5 will transpose back into the main line. But what a move here by Gukesh. a6, he's actually provoking Vidit to go knight g5 and Vidit actually thinks for a lot of time here. He thinks for 20 minutes and then castles, doesn't go for knight g5 because he thinks that Gukesh would be well prepared, and Gukesh instantly responds back with h6. And you can already sense that a slight momentum is on Gukesh's side because Vidit has taken so much time in the opening. Now a4 played, very logical to stop b5, also gain space on the queen side, and now Gukesh puts his bishop on c5. Well, essentially by making these two moves, a6 and h6, what Gukesh has got is time advantage, and also has prevented some of the lines that Vidit could play with white. And now the pawn comes up to d6. Simple move, and Gukesh is completely fine if Vidit takes. He's okay with this structure. So Vidit says, I'm not interested to take, I play my knight. If you take, I'm happy with this open f file. Let's see who's going to flinch first in this standoff. Gukesh castles, so black is still not ready to take. And now Vidit plays his pawn to c3. So very calm chess here by Vidit, and maybe he wants to gain more space on the queen side with b4. Rook e8 played. And this is interesting because Gukesh may want to go bishop e6, and once takes, he wants to take with the rook. Well, one of the things that has happened here is the fact that Vidit takes a huge amount of time for this move b4. He takes 26 minutes for b4, and now Gukesh takes on e3. He chops it off, pawn takes. So 1 hour 34 minutes for Gukesh, 57 minutes for Vidit here. Position is roundabout even, and Gukesh plays bishop e6. So once you have traded one pair of bishops, you want to trade one more pair with bishop e6, and let's see what Vidit's response is going to be. He pushes b5. Now this is slightly dangerous because with this move what has happened is Vidit has created tension in the position that is not in his favor, because he never can take here. After knight a6, the a4 pawn is weak. So Gukesh has the choice when to take on b5, and it feels like Vidit is starting to overextend a bit. So takes here, the position is still roundabout even, but it's slowly shifting, and now Gukesh takes with the rook, and later on he would love if his knight could settle here on c5, putting pressure on d3 and e4. So Vidit goes queen c2, and with this he's defending his e4 pawn, maybe planning to push pawn to d4. Gukesh is coming in here, knight c5 is his idea, and Vidit has to tread carefully now. He's only slightly worse, but he should be aware of this fact. He goes d4, and now while this move does stop knight c5, the problem is this e4 pawn has kind of become an eternal weakness. You can see how Gukesh is putting pressure here on e4. If Vidit is forced to play d5, the c5 square becomes weak. So Vidit goes rook a e1, and he says, if you take, I'll take back with the pawn, defending the pawn on e4. Now Gukesh takes. So Vidit takes back, and black has gotten control of the a file. You will see that this rook has no opponent there, and rook a5, fantastic move once again, attacking the b5 pawn. Step by step, Gukesh is increasing the pressure. Vidit defends the pawn with c4, and now Gukesh can just move his queen over to a8 and double. That's what he does. Very, very well done by Gukesh. Now he is controlling the a file, and the pressure keeps mounting on Vidit. He just plays pawn to h3 so that in future he doesn't have to worry about knight g4 ideas. Rook comes back to e8, again improving the position. And while Vidit has got everything well covered for the time being, the issue is that his time is lower. He's at 35 minutes, Gukesh has an hour. And secondly, b6 played. Now look at this, the queen is attacking here, pressure both on the board and on the clock. Vidit goes rook f2. Somehow Vidit is making non-committal moves, because he knows that after takes he has take to defend e4. Now rook a2 enters. He's attacking the queen. The queen has to move. Queen comes to d3. We are on move number 22. 18 more moves to make, and Vidit has 31 minutes. Gukesh has 52 minutes on the clock. The challenge for Gukesh, of course, here is to find a way to break through. And so many times these top players, they don't really find a precise way to break through. What they do is they keep playing and they keep putting pressure, like queen b1 now. Next is maybe to just come in with the queen and triple. Maybe, and the very fact that Vidit has to make his moves, queen a4, good move by Gukesh, is going to lead him to make some mistake. Because if Vidit could just pass here and say, okay, I am not doing anything, maybe it would be better. But here he goes knight to h4, and Vidit is somehow trying to get his knight to f5 and create some pressure, because that's the logical thing for him. He has pressure down the f file, and now Gukesh has shifted his attention with his rook, so the e4 pawn is not that much under pressure, and knight jumps to f5. There can be checks here, there can be sacrifices here, so Gukesh has to remain careful. I love this move that he's played, king f8. It's a prophylactic move, but it's a very powerful move. Rook f1 played. Now with these two rooks double down the f file, there's pressure on f6 and f7. But Gukesh says, hey, I'm ready to trade things off. If you take here twice, then in the ensuing position, black rook will be very, very active. So that's the reason why Vidit brings his queen to d3. And now, what's the next move here for Gukesh? The pressure on him is also mounting a bit. He plays queen b4, and the time has been equalized. Both players down to 24 minutes. 13 more moves to make. Wow, this is getting interesting. But queen b4 was such a nice move. Now Vidit takes on a1. He takes back on a1. And now very calmly Vidit can wait. Queen c2. But he pushes his pawn, and this is kind of very, very rash play by Vidit. Do not know what is his plan here. He's just completely maybe seen some ghost. I don't know. He thought for 14 minutes and pushed his pawn to c5. Gukesh says thank you Vidit for the gift after 3 minutes. And now the knight jumps to c4. What is Vidit doing? What is the knight doing here? There's absolutely no threat. cd4. Vidit has simply collapsed here under pressure. There's no real threat with the knight. In fact, Gukesh comes in, hits the rook, threatens queen g1 check here. Queen h1 also coming in, gets up from the board, and Vidit is left all alone there. He plays rook e2, but this is just completely done and dusted from, okay, Vidit was under tremendous pressure, but he was not losing. He could have waited. He was worse for sure. But now it's like a checkmate sequence is on the board. Gukesh finds first, queen g1. King is pulled out. King is pulled out of the board. And now, what's the next move here? He plays knight to h5 check. King has to move. Maybe king g4 is one option. King h4. King g4, you have other here. Knight moving in and giving a check. So king goes to h4. And now, where is the mate? Beautiful move by Gukesh, calmly playing his knight, threatening g5 mate. That is the threat. A huge, huge, massive threat. So Vidit chops off the pawn on h6. Well, that's the only way perhaps to prevent the mate. And Gukesh doesn't even care. He goes queen h2. Wow. He's just coming here. He wants to checkmate Vidit. And look at that king on h4 cornered. Vidit is now down to 9 minutes. He has some time left, but what to do? His king has been simply smoked out of the house. And now knight comes back trying to control this square on g3. But there are many, many ways to finish this off. Let's see how Gukesh does it. Whoa, rook f1. Beautiful move. Threatening rook takes knight, pawn takes knight, and queen g3 checkmate. So Vidit goes g4 and calmly attacks here the queen. So have to be careful how you're going to play this. And let's see what Gukesh plays here. He has a chance to finish this game off in very beautiful fashion. The move here, rook f5, is very nice. He finds it because if rook h2, there is g5 checkmate. The queen has been sacrificed here. What a beautiful mate this is. And so Vidit cannot capture the queen, but if he takes with g-pawn, there is a mate on g3. So he plays e takes f5, but Gukesh has now seen the finish here. He goes queen g3 check, king g5, and now knight h7 check. What a finish. Check here, and Vidit resigns the game. Gukesh has managed to beat Vidit and move to 5 points out of 8. What a comeback game by Gukesh after losing to Alireza Firouzja. He showed some brilliant play. He kept pressure on Vidit right from the opening, and then finally Vidit collapsed there, and he's joined the leader here, Nepo. So Gukesh after 8 rounds is in the lead. Vidit now has quite a big task there to come back in this tournament. He's on 3.5 points out of 8. Gukesh calmly puts down all his pieces, and as always he'll show mark of respect to the board after this before getting up. There you see him touching the board and then giving his respect. And now Great play by this youngster. He's shown what a beast he is on the board with this game.